Hi, it's Ishwarya again. So, in today's video, I'll be telling you guys about the tennis tournaments that are there. There's the ATP first of all. So, every professional player gains an ATP ranking, which they obviously take with pride. I think the current number one player is in men's is Novak Djokovic. Anyway, so ATP is known as the Association of Tennis Players. It's world famous and it occurs. So the small tournaments that occur around the world are usually ATP tournaments only. Then there's the WTA, which is the Women's Tennis Association. So this is basically ATP but for women. It's also considered an extremely prestigious tournament and it occurs around the world. It's basically the same as ATP, but then it's for women, which is how tennis as an individual sport is segregated. Then come the four main Grand Slams, which are a personal favorite of mine to watch. You guys should go watch them too. So the year begins with the Australian Open. The Australian Open is obviously held in Australia. I think Sydney, I'm not quite sure, or Melbourne, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, so it's in Australia and it's played on the hard court, the synthetic court. So the king of the Australian Open is, I'm sure as all of you can guess, Novak Djokovic. He's good at all hard court tournaments overall. He's good at everything, in fact, at this point. So this happens in like Jan to Feb. The second Grand Slam of the year is the Roland Garros, or the French Open as we call it. It occurs on the clay court and Rafael Nadal is known as, he's extremely professional in it. He's played, I don't know how many, and he's won like over 11 titles on the French Open, in the French Open. Then comes the US Open. This is held in like August, September. The US Open also occurs on the hard court only. Then there's the Wimbledon tournament. The Wimbledon tournament is played in all white. It's an extremely prestigious tournament. It started in London back in the 19th century, I think. There have been a lot of famous players in the that have been a part of the Wimbledon tournament, but my all-time favorite is Roger Federer and Serena Williams. I remember this one Wimbledon finals double between Federer and Sania Mirza. It was an extreme treat to watch. I still watch the highlights today when I'm free. So that's it about the Grand Slams. Winning a Grand Slam title is known as like an extreme milestone in a tennis player's career. It takes a lot of determination and grit. Today there are a lot of next-gen players also that have entered the game, like Carlos Alcaraz or Iga. I'm so sorry, but I don't know the last name. But you guys can look it up. She recently won the Wimbledon tournament. Alcaraz also won the Wimbledon and against Djokovic in the finals. So yeah, I mean, every year the players keep on, there are new players that are introduced. They start by gaining an ATP ranking. Then there's the Grand Slam qualifiers, which they have to play for and win. After that, they earn a seat in the professional tournament. I mean, it lasts for around 4 to 6 weeks and the matches are scheduled in an extremely proper manner. Even during the matches, umpires try to maintain like as much decorum as possible. There are a lot of native players that come into such tournaments and international players that also enter the game. The thing about these Grand Slams is that it's not only the renowned players who always win, it's sometimes the new surprises, the new treats that you get to watch, like Dominic Thiem and Maria Sharapova. All of these guys have had an extremely inspiring career. And one thing about Grand Slams that I enjoy personally is are the traditions that are associated with it. Like for example, the Wimbledon. So there's this long-lasting tradition of Wimbledon where you have strawberries and cream in the audience. It's extremely famous to do that. I'm sure there are other traditions also in the remaining Grand Slams. So yeah, that's about it, and thank you for watching.